Street. Here I am, still in my pajamas. I hope you are too. Staying warm. Not sure whether there's ice out or not, but it's definitely still raining. Kind of nasty out there. I was super disappointed to not be able to preach today and to not be able to see you all and to find out how everybody's doing and just enjoy our time together and um, thinking about Jesus and singing songs and uh, yeah, just really miss being around you all. So I decided that I'm going to do a little miniature sermon on the first chapter of James, verses 1 through 8. And um, anyway, I hope it's helpful to you, and I hope it can get you thinking about Jesus and River Street and who we are and who we're called to be. So I initially started thinking about the book of James because it's a book that's really about um, confusion. It's a book that's about a group of people who have been scattered throughout the Roman Empire, who are believers in Jesus and are experiencing trial. And something about that trial has made them not sure which way to go. The book of James is kind of famous for not being theological. When you read Paul's letters, Paul's got all sorts of doctrines and understandings of God, and he tries to explain who God is and what God is doing. Whereas the book of James is far more about what we would call ethics or morality. And what Paul seems to be saying, or what the author of James, what James seems to be saying, is that the people he's writing to have lost their way. They've lost their sense of who Jesus is and the way of Jesus and how to follow Jesus. And so I think that we live in a time where we are constantly, by Christians and non-Christians, um, sent messages that confuse us about what it looks like to follow Jesus in our time and in our world. So that's the reason I picked the book of James. That's the reason I've been thinking about the book of James as a rededication for us to look to Jesus and to look to Him as to how to live our lives. So I'm just going to begin. I already began. I'm going to read the first 8 verses of James. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes in the dispersion. Greetings, my brothers and sisters. Whenever you face trials of any kind, consider it nothing but joy, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its full effect, so that you may mature and complete, lacking in nothing. If any of you is lacking in wisdom, ask God, who gives to all generously and ungrudgingly, and it will be given you. But ask in faith, never doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For the doubter, being double-minded and unstable in every way, must not expect to receive anything from the Lord. I think it's that last couple of verses about doubting is something that we're going to talk about in depth next week for our sermon. But this week, I want to focus on this sense of, if any of you is lacking in the midst of this temptation, just ask. Ask Christ. Ask Jesus, and He will give it to you. Um, that's what we're asking for, is can we, in this time and in this age of confusion, of being able to find your own truth wherever you want to find it, where there are videos that you can get to reinforce whatever idea that you want. There are articles you can read, newspaper articles, news articles, anything that you can find that will tell you what you want to believe. And it seems like there is no real truth anymore. It seems like there is, people are calling it, we live in a post-truth world. Well, now, in this moment, can River Street, can you as individuals, can we as people look in the midst of these trials, in the midst of these temptations, in the midst of these struggles, can we look to Jesus and ask Him to reveal truth to us? Can we look to Jesus? Can we renew our efforts to look to Him and say, we will follow you, not the fads of this world, not the overwhelming sources of information out there, not the plurality of voices, but can we say we are followers of Jesus? And in the midst of our trials, we will look to him. And in the midst of our temptations, we will look to him. In the midst of confusion, we will look to him. In the midst of heartache, we will look to him. In the midst of pain, in the midst of doubting, we will look to him and we will follow. That's what the book of James is about. The rest of it has everything to do with this is how you follow Jesus. This is what it looks like for the people of God to be intently focused on the way and on the teachings of Jesus. The book is about getting rid of that confusion and whittling down, digging deeply into the foundation of Christ and his way of life. So I hope this brings you some thoughts. I hope it causes you to ponder Christ in the midst of this inclement weather day. I hope you know that you're missed. I hope that you are loved. I hope that you're warm. I hope that you are safe. And I just pray that Christ will bring us together again next week so that we can dig deeply into this book of James. Have a great day.